As we start to see bullishness in the market, Solana is attempting to make a massive breakout from the descending triangle and the key level of resistance that we have been tracking for the last multiple months. Now, if we are able to see this breakout, it will spark the beginning of a new journey for Solana over the next couple months, in my opinion, as we enter into a new phase of this market. And so with that being said, today we are going to go over exactly what I'm looking for to be confident in the breakout and how you guys can identify good buying opportunities or rejections that may lead to even further losses. So with that said, let's kind of get started with just the fact that we have been tracking this triangle realistically since between September to December. That time frame was the beginning when we started to see this change in momentum as we started to enter into this consolidationary period. Now, generally speaking, when we enter into these triangles, Solana will see the price break out between 70 and 80% of the way through the triangle. Here it was 75% of the way, right here it was 72% of the way. And in this example, depending on where you measure it from, if you go from the first level of support, it's about 81%, but if you do go from the first level of resistance, we're currently sitting at about 73%. So considering the fact that we are around the time of breakout, it does not surprise me to see much stronger moves to the upside as we get closer to the apex and much stronger moves to the downside as well. So at this point, what we need to be paying attention to are our indicators to give us an idea if it seems possible for us to see a breakout, and it's important for us to start to look for key signs of rejections to say if we fail to break out, what do we expect to happen next? So starting off with just the price itself, it does seem as if we are making another strong attempt to the upside here. So obviously, kind of basing this thing off of just what we can see, we need to get back above this line. This is the level of rejection. At this point, it looks like us getting back above, I'd say $94, $95 gives us a very clear break here. But you guys know that I'm not one to say buy on the break of a downtrend or a downward sloping resistance level. I've never really been that type of person. I always say wait for the clearing of the most recent macro high. That is always my go-to. That is what saved me loads and loads of times over and over and over again. So in the event that we do see a breakout to the upside, I personally won't be just mass accumulating and hoping that this is the moment that we've been waiting for. I'm actually going to be waiting for us to clear the most recent macro high that touched the trend line that we broke, which is going to look like about 100, right now, roughly $102, okay? If we're capable of breaking $102 and working our way back up above that key level of rejection, that would be the point in which I say that yes, we are very likely entering into a new phase for Solana, and it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest to, from that point forward, maybe even if we do see a pullback, finally start to either see some growth or consolidation, but we do enter into some new phase of the market. The reason it's important to wait for us to clear these macro highs is because look at what happened with something like Bitcoin. As we did break this trend line right here, let's just get our little rough trend line drawn in. You guys can see that we came up to this macro high and we failed to get any strong clearings above it. And so we've been bouncing and bouncing off of that same level without realistically being able to clear it. And we don't want to get caught buying up within a consolidationary event such as a symmetrical triangle of this nature, because realistically it's a 50-50 at the end of the day. So at this point, what I'm looking for is not only the break of trend here, but getting back above about $102. In the event in which we can do that, I will start to accumulate, I will start to buy, and that is when I really do expect us to start to see some pretty strong growth. But that is the only point in which I would start buying. I would need to see the daily candles close above this level for myself to be confident to say, okay, maybe we're now chasing 120, maybe even back up to $154 around this key area of confluence. Now, let's talk about if it's realistic. Well, of course, the only way we can do that is we just have to start by looking at our indicators. Well, what we know is that we have been seeing a drive of double divergence in which we are seeing bearish divergence on the top side. As we can see, we're setting lower highs and higher highs, but we are seeing bullish divergence on the bottom side, which looks like lower lows and higher lows. Now, generally speaking, again, this is going to be a pattern that really just can go in either direction. And so there's no point in saying it's going to do one or it's going to do another. But considering the fact that we are not seeing extreme divergence in favor of either side at this point, I would go ahead and say that we are still kind of in a 50-50 territory, because at this point, it kind of seems that although the bears are having success pushing the price down, they're not having that same momentum in which they saw before. And momentum is starting to swing in the favor of the bulls as the relative strength index does start to kind of turn its way around a bit. That's kind of my take on it. I do pair that opinion with the fact that we are seeing this bullish pressure on the MACD. As you can see here, we are in a gradual uptrend back towards bullish territory, as we are starting to see every time we do get one of these bearish crosses, it's immediately reversed back to the top side as we are in this general, again, uptrend on the daily MACD. Now, lastly, looking at the weekly RSI and MACD, you can see here that we are still in a very strong territory, in which on the RSI itself, we still do have this massive drive of bullish divergence in which we set the higher low and the lower low. And on the MACD here, we can see that we are still working our way gradually back up towards bullish territory while we're printing the pink candles. So overall, considering the fact that we are seeing such bullishness on the majority of our indicators, I am pretty confident to say that this breakout is very possible, but it does come down to, do we simply do it, and do we get back above $101? Be on the lookout for the break of that level, because if that level is broken, then that is when we can really start to expect the stronger gains to come. Especially if you look at something like the daily Bollinger Bands, you can see that at this point we are seemingly trying to break this 20-day simple moving average, and if we are capable of holding above it, historically speaking, we will revisit the top side of our Bollinger Band envelope. And what you can see is that the top side of our Bollinger Band envelope is currently resting right around that key level of macro resistance at, again, $102. So there is a setup and there is an ability and a formula for us to see this breakout, even with something like Ethereum having already broken out today. But we just need, or that's the Ethereum Bitcoin pair. Look at the Ethereum pair itself. We have this breakout now. Now we're just trying to get back above some of these macro highs. So overall, it is very possible, and this can happen. But I wouldn't be betting and saying it's going to happen until it does. Just let it happen, okay? Don't be trying to just, get too antsy or too anxious and just buying for no reason, because we have seen time and time again that these rejections can happen. You need to allow this thing to break out. You need to allow it to establish support before those confirmations can say that we are looking at some gradual growth to the upside or a new break and a new, continuation into a new path for Solana here, okay? Now, if we do get rejected, what that's going to look like is it's going to be us coming back down below roughly this $81 level. If we do come back below $81, below this previous daily close, do expect us to likely push back towards the low 70s, especially if the rest of the market is falling. But overall, at this point, while we are testing the top side, be on the lookout for that possible break, because we do have the momentum to do so. And lastly, even if we look at something like the stock RSI, I would assume that we do still have a little bit of room left to run. Yeah, as you can see, we're about halfway up to the top, so there is still more room for us to run before topping off here, which says that there is the door open for us to make a move of this nature before running into some topside resistance. So overall, everything is looking good for Solana to make this move, and all the indicators do say that it is possible, but I definitely would not be buying until it happens, because again, we have seen multiple rejections over and over and over again. Now, of course, in the event in which I do get to buying, you guys know that I do all of my buying at this point over on iTrust Capital on some of my long-term cryptos, such as my Ethereum, my Solana, my Bitcoin. I've been doing just about all of my buying on it at this point, because I personally don't think that it's fair to have to pay up to 40% on taxes on every gains we make, right? If we find a crypto that we think has a lot of potential, we make a good financial decision, we invest in it, and we win, and then we have to pay up to 40% in that to really people who didn't really have anything to do with it, it kind of gets frustrating and annoying. So I've been doing it all on iTrust Capital. You can use my link down below. They are a partner of the channel. All you have to do is sign up with this basic information. It is totally free. They're going to send you an email. When you get the email, verify your email. That's extremely important to be able to see the offers in which they have for how you can actually save yourself a lot of money. I think it's worth it. I think it's something that everyone should check out, honestly. But with that said, that's going to be the quick, fast, and easy update for the day, and I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, you can always let me know simply by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And I will see you all next time. Peace.